Dear Milanista, it's been a fantastic weekend, as you know. I want to talk about that and the news that actually the coach of the second team of Milan officially resigned and is going to go to manage probably Theo Hernandez at Al Hilal. That will be funny to see. But I want to keep my reaction over Inter defeat at the last part of the video. First of all, of course, I want to talk about us because it's more important than everything. It's us, especially. We cannot be too happy when you have a CEO called Giorgino Furlani that in the last match against Monza literally said the way we are managed, sacrifice will be not necessary. So of course, as a fan, what I'm hearing is that the big stars, Tijjani Reijnders, Pulisic, Leao, Hernandez, Maignan, they're not gonna be sold because the way we are managed, right? The way we are managed, we don't really need to sell anybody. So I'm expecting that you're not gonna sell our best players, even though we are 9th in the league or 8th in the league, and it doesn't really matter, right? And we didn't qualify for the next Champions League. So my fear is exactly what's happened with Tonali, because we didn't really need to sell Tonali. We did it because we received an offer. And that's explained a little bit also my thumbnail, Giorgio Furlani in the middle, like a butcher, selling pieces of Milan to the higher bidder, to the highest offer. And this is what is going on. I want to talk about the Theo Hernandez situation, Rafa Leao, Maignan, Tijjani Reijnders, but of course there is also some gossip, some rumors, more than everything, around Luka Modric coming to Milan, the 39 years old ex-Ballon d'Or Real Madrid that is a free agent and he could move to Milan. Now I want to actually start from this news here because it came in last night, late from Fabrizio Romano, that says that the dream of the new sport director of Milan, Ilitare, is to bring the free agent Lukas Modric to Milan. Now, that doesn't mean absolutely anything. I know that some people are gonna be hyped up for this. I understand that there is a huge community of fans behind Modric, and there is a huge community, of course, of Croatians, because he's Croats. There's a lot of Croatian that follows Milan. Like our friends Milanistra, Now, I don't know what they think about Modric. Actually, if anybody, any Croatian wants to talk about Modric and let me know what you guys think as a move to Milan, that will be more than welcome to read. In my opinion, it is just rumors. Now, I understand what Ilitare wants to do. He wants to bring a little bit the kind of leadership. It's gonna be the same things that we did with Kyle Walker. Probably one of the things that it is missing in this dressing room is the experienced leadership in the group. A little bit what Zlatan, Kier, Oliver Giroud did back in the 2-3 years ago. Similar style of operations, but the operation now is more to try to keep probably they're gonna try to keep Walker. This one I don't know, probably Allegri is gonna have a words on it because he like defenders. But bringing Modric could be bringing somebody that has experience in the Champions League, and more than everything, in the game of Allegri, maybe he's going to be the player that needs to keep the ball a little bit longer towards the last 10-15 minutes. Of course, Lucas doesn't have the 90 minutes in the legs. Even this year in Real Madrid didn't play long time, but I'm imagining playing away in Napoli, playing away in Roma, the match maybe that you're winning 1-0 and then you need a little bit more experience to keep the ball, cool down the pressure, and Lukas Modric could be one of those players to bring that. Also because apparently back in the days he was a Milanista. So but anyway, I know I'm using big words here, but let's try to keep it as let's try to keep it more objective as possible in this case. But maybe leadership and a little bit more experience in the field, especially in the last 10-15 minutes. That could help Massimiliano Allegri. and could be a things that has to be done. I think if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen this week, because a free agent like Lucas Modric is, if he wants to play in Europe, we need to make sure to get him before anybody else try to get it. Also because later there's gonna be, surely 100%, there's gonna be Al Hilal, Al Nassr, all the Saudi Arabia teams. They're gonna offer him 20 million a year, and then he's gonna be like, okay, do you want to play for Furlani contract of 4 or 5 millions a year, 1 year in Milan that doesn't even play in Champions League, or you wanna cash some of your maybe your last 2 years and make some money, maybe 100 millions in 2 years, and and then retire. We will see what's gonna be. I think if they have to do it, this operation has to be quick. And OldHeart Rossonero, what do you think? He, of course, when somebody of that caliber wants to come to play in our team, it's more than welcome. Also because midfield, in my opinion, it is we need a little bit more of experience and a little bit more of weight over there, a little bit more of leadership, of course. But if you buy Modric, you need to make sure that you need to understand that you're not buying a starter. You are actually buying somebody that is going to be a bench. He's going to be from the bench and then play the last 10-15 minutes, or maybe the second half, I don't know, but short amount of time. And clearly you can't build much around Modric unless you buy another couple of midfielder. We hear about Ricci, we're hearing about some other Italian midfielder. That will be lovely. I will be again fall in love for another Italian midfielder, finally back in Milan. But at the least, the idea, if you bring somebody with experience, you need to make sure to build around the system of him so he can share his passion and his experience more than passion. And this is about there is also some news about Rabiot, actually, because of Allegri, can come back to Italy and play for Milan. But as far as I know, Rabiot had a very high salary, so we will see what is actually going to happen. And this is for the Mercato in my opinion, right now. There are only special offer on the way in, and on the way out there are big, for these clubs, there are more like big problems. The Leao, the Theo Hernandez, the Maignan, and the Reijnders. So players that you can, especially Tijjani Reijnders, that you can cash. You can finally cash, and you can recover that gap of money on your balance that you didn't bring home because of the Champions League. Now, the reality is, once again, if you say something like, in the way that we manage, we don't need, sacrifice will be not necessary. So why selling? Why selling them? I in my opinion, if the Hernandez wants to go, I will keep Reijnders every day over Theo Hernandez. I will keep Rafa, I don't know, because I really like, but Theo Hernandez, I think. Let's talk about Theo Hernandez, okay. Theo Hernandez, guys. First of all, let's start from the fan perspective. Theo Hernandez means the soul, means the image of the Milan of the until last year, but the rebirth of Milan since pandemic time until 2024. I think Theo, under Maldini, he was incredible. He was the best left back in the world, and with him we knew that when Theo was playing a top level, Milan will be building a top level match. Milan will be playing a top level match. Theo Hernandez this year is not being the same, of course. In my opinion, what is going on right now is that Theo Hernandez want to stay in Milan, and before he had Paolo Maldini that not only wants him in Milan but also shield him and help him personally to grow in Milan, and it was playing a little bit like his personal agent in Milan. And now that Paolo is not there anymore, what is happening is Theo is trying to ask a bigger contract because everything that he did in the past. and also because at 27 years old, maybe he want to stay in Milan. He got a family, he got 2 kids, so, and probably he want also cash. He wants some, a bigger contract. Now I think he's around 4.5. He maybe want to have 7.5. But this club doesn't want to give him. So what is going to happening now is that Theo said, okay, this is your offer, very good. Now I'm going to search around who can, I want to stay here in Milan, but if you really don't, let's say I have to look after myself. So if you don't really pay that, I will have to start looking around for other offers. So for example, now there is a story that Al Hilal offer 35 millions to Theo Hernandez and 18 millions to him, guys. 18 millions of reason to go to Al Hilal. It is a huge deal for Theo Hernandez. 18 million, bro. Nobody else in Europe is going to give you this money. There is a final report now of Di Marzio around Atletico de Madrid. I think Atletico de Madrid could be a good solution for Theo Hernandez. I see him playing over there. He already played in Real Madrid when he was very young, but he could be playing in Atletico. He's still playing in Europe, and also remember that next year there's going to be the Champions League. The next year there's going to be the World Cup. And if you stay in Europe, especially if you play in Champions League, you're going to be under the radar of everyone. So I think Theo, if he wants to play the World Cup, which is, I guess, is the dream of every player, especially because France gonna want to win the World Cup in America, Theo maybe want to stay in Europe. So playing with Al Hilal, make sure that everyone knows that there is an offer for Theo Hernandez, about 35 million to Milan, can also play in the other way to say, hey guys, I have an offer here. Anybody else across Europe wants me? Okay, let's make the offer. Let's see what's good. It's maybe these he used Al Hilal to stir a little bit the market, try to get more offers. Is that something that is going to happen to Hernandez? I think overall, if Milan wanted to renew him, they had plenty of time. And Theo, in the previous renewal, he was in the middle of our project. Here's the question: is Theo still in the middle of our project? We will see, guys. I can't really predict. I can only tell you that this season for Theo Hernandez was horrible. Match above everyone. I remember a red card for diving in the match against Feyenoord that left the team down to 10 men. I remember a horrible match against Lazio. I remember a horrible match against Bologna in the final of Coppa Italia. I remember a horrible defense in both matches against Cagliari. I remember a penalty miss against Fiorentina. And the list goes on and on. This is something that just come up in my mind. Theo wasn't great this season. He played 2 fantastic matches this season, one against Real Madrid and one against Inter in the final of Supercoppa Italiana. For the rest, I don't really remember an incredible Theo. That's it. So he really represents Milan in the good and in the bad. And probably this is the end of a chapter. Can he be sold for more than 35? After this season, not much, honestly. 35, maybe 40, 45, I don't know. But other than that, I don't think. For Leao, it's just rumors around at the moment. There was Il Mattino saying that Napoli can do the swap between Rafa Leao and Osimhen for Milan. Could it be? How do you guys see that? I honestly don't think that it is an upgrade for Milan. I like Rafa, but I think with Allegri we're gonna have some. Rafa is gonna have a hard life, surely, but probably it's gonna stay. And Maignan, of course, same topic as Theo Hernandez. He is 27, 20, I think he's 26, 27 years old. He did 5 years in Milan. He won the Scudetto, the Supercoppa. He got experience. It is one of the best prospect of Europe. But he's one of the best goalkeeper in the world, in my opinion. Maybe now he want to step up. He still want to play in Champions League. He want to be in a club where he feels like he is about to win something every single year. Milan, unfortunately, the project initially was great. Right now, it's not like this. Plus, the situation, the environment, maybe something broke. my opinion, I will keep Tijjani Reijnders and I will keep my Maignan. The other two is gonna be hard, but if you want to restructure the team for Allegri, you have to do it freely mind, without thinking you have to build around Theo or building around Rafa. You have to build around Tijjani Reijnders, which is a midfielder that can play in every position, and you have to play around Mike Maignan because he's one of the best. So on Mike, I will clearly renew him. We will see if Giorgino Furlan is seen the same way. Otherwise, again, we are back to step one, and change the goalkeeper again is going to be tough. This is it. This is all the news that we have right now around Milan, rumor about players leaving and the players coming in. Now, talking about Inter for the final, this is my personal opinion. Of course, I'm still enjoying every single second when I think that Inter got the biggest defeat on a football final in every single competition around the world. 5-0 was never seen anywhere, and it was incredible to see. I, as a fan, as a Milan fan, I did enjoy seeing the face of Di Marco, of Lautaro, of Acerbi, of what's his name, of Barella. No, Barella, it's okay, but mainly about Çalhanoğlu getting slapped 5-0 to Paris Saint-Germain that completely dominated the match. Now, of course, I'm very happy because they've been very bauscia throughout the season. They've been very talkative, from Mkhitaryan saying that they were ingiocabili, unplayable, to Thuram saying that he's going to lift the cup next weekend, and to the all Inter base, and that sometimes the fans that they even come in the channel and say, oh, Milan is 8, Milan is 9, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Milan won a trophy. You didn't win 0. Actually, you become history with that. And remember that, I don't have it on this t-shirt, that even if you were winning, you were still a 4 Champions League. When you are a 7, you can start talking, because Milano siamo noi, okay? Now, after that we have to say, okay? My opinion now is that, of course, 5-0, it is tough for anybody. Losing 5-0 a final, it's probably Inter. A 3-0, in my opinion, it was more than enough. It's already humiliating. 5, it's like literally not respectful towards the team, especially for the fans that they've been gathering in San Siro, in Duomo, in even there. Something that I really didn't like about this final is 2 things. Number one is that they play with a yellow jersey. I mean, if it was Milan, you know, guys, how much I pay attention over those little things, but I don't really care. Tradition is tradition. You play with your red and with your own colors. You play the final with your own color, not because a sponsor tells you to wear a yellow. Barella, even in interviews, said, oh, we like the idea. No, man, it's the sponsor that is telling you that. Maybe they receive some money because if they were wearing that jersey. Now, I don't really care. I think should be respectful. And talking about respect, as well, the club should allow to the Curva Nord to be close to the most important match of the season, which is the final of Champions League. They gave tickets. They didn't allow the Curva to travel to Monaco. It was extremely disrespectful for people that literally have families, have work, and they still take their time off to follow the team everywhere in Europe. Everywhere in Europe. It's unreal. And they let, influencer, they let tourists to go to watch the stadium, to watch the match. Results, there was no chance, there was no much organized choreography. It was a shit show, in my opinion. It all night, from the choreography to the non-existing, to the atmosphere, to the final result, to the jersey, there was nothing that went right for Inter. As a Milan fan, I'm super happy about this, but as a sport, as much as I can be when we talk about Inter, I think it just it is a nightmare, and this is something for them that is gonna stay forever with them, because losing 5-0 finally is fucking unreal, man. Now there is a news also that Simone Inzaghi resigned. Simone Inzaghi, guys, that in my opinion, he brought a team that didn't have a second line to play every single competition until the last match, and that should be respected for that. I don't think it's the fault of Simone Inzaghi that Inter lost everything. I think that the responsibilities are in the club, that they didn't do a winter market, even though they won. They were aiming to win everything, but probably, as our Americans, maybe the goal is not to win everything. Maybe the goal is to capitalize as much as possible, put the people, but at least they know that they have to put the people that knows about football in charge, and winning, losing, they still earning money, because this season from the Champions League, I think Inter earned something around 150 million, which is ridiculous. In my opinion, Inter also had a very short team, and considering that now they're going to be playing in the World Cup, that is another useless competition. The way the direction that football is going nowadays, it is horrible. Infantino, it is the worst that can happen in football. The worst that can happen in football is called Gianni Infantino, because now Inter has to go to play Inter as Juve and Manchester City and Real Madrid. They have to go to play the World Cup in America, and to make it more serious for the clubs, they put on top a price of over 100 million, like pretty much like the Champions League. I mean, something has to change. I think these players, they play too much, and there is way too much money in this sport. And of course, then can be dramatic ending, like what's happened with Inter. Pretty dramatic, because at the end you don't have energy. Because Inter didn't have energy to play against Lazio in the last match. Inter didn't have energy to play against I think also against Milan in the semi-final. Inter didn't have energy to play against Paris Saint-Germain. It makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Anyway, guys, this is it for the moment. Hopefully we're gonna do another video where we're gonna talk about a new signing for Milan. Of course, it's gonna be exciting. Always believe, e forza Milan.